Have y'all ever heard that cliche saying, like, that is not my job? Like, I don't know if that's from a TV show or something, but this episode is all about how it's absolutely your fucking job. All right. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to address fathers. And the reason why I say unfortunately, well, I'm going to have to address the cliche father role, I should say. And it's so hard for me because I see people make these videos on the internet about how men don't do a lot, blah, blah, like all of these videos that kind of attack like fathers and men and blah, 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 blah. And I'm actually about to attack all of you in this podcast. So not the people making the videos, fathers and men. So I'm no better. But I see these videos and I don't resonate with them and they aggravate the fuck out of me. Like I let them get to me and Rachel's like, babe, why do you care? Like you're literally the polar opposite of that. Like why do you let that affect you? And I'm like, I think it's because the moment that someone gets on the camera and says men, I'm like, okay, now I'm intrigued because that does include you're talking to this group of people, and she's like, don't do shit, and I'm like, okay, now I have to leave the conversation. But it's a little frustrating because I do challenge the status quo, I do challenge the gender role, but at the same time, when I look around, I'm like, wow, you guys are fucking stupid, men, fathers. That is like, you guys really do suck. Like the more I look around and the more I hear from moms, or just even I'll look at the comments and people are like, I'll get comments on my video. Yeah, my baby daddy hasn't changed a diaper and my baby's 5 months old. What? What? How is he your baby daddy? Like I'm not trying to go off on the women here, but if you guys are stuck in like some of these positions, I'm like, did you guys not vet the fucking person you're having a child? I mean, granted, me and Rachel got pregnant after 2 months. She hit the fucking lottery with me, but no, it's tough for me. Anyway, this episode is all about, I want to inspire, man. I don't want to tear you down. I want to inspire you. So I'm not going to attack you, but I do have to tell you the truth about something. So if you're listening to this and you're a mom, send this to your baby daddy and be like, yo, it would mean a ton to me if you listen to this podcast. Like, it's just, I'm not saying every single thing he says is accurate, which it probably will be, but a few of the points he made resonate with me. And like, I'd love for you to hear it from a different perspective. Or if you're a dude and you listen to my podcast, here's how I want you to look at this. And I shouldn't say men are dude and woman or man. I should say like the other part. There's like usually the partner that takes on the mental load, the primary parent, if you will. And then there's the other partner. And in a lot of my videos, you'll hear me say the other partner. So for this video, I'm talking about the other partner. It just so happens that the cliche or the standard statistic of the other partner is usually the father in the relationship. And so next, if this resonates with you, if you're the other partner and you listen to this podcast and it resonates with you, that's a fucking problem. Okay. If this aggravates you because you're like, that's not what I'm like at all. Like what? Like, I can't believe he thinks men are, you're in my boat. Welcome to the fucking party. And I get it. So here's what I want to address. I think I'm going to break this down for you as the other partner. And if I say men or I say father, just know that it's synonymous for the other partner for sakes of this podcast. Okay. I don't want to clarify that every time. God forbid. Sorry. Here's what I want you to understand. And I said this morning in a video on my TikTok. It's your fucking job. It's always your job. And I think that if you go into fatherhood, parenthood, so if you're a soon to be parent, I hope you listen to this and take what I'm about to say serious. Whatever it is, it's your fucking job. And what I mean by that is when you're going to be a parent, there's tasks and responsibilities that come with raising that child. And so a few of those things are, changing diapers, feeding, getting up in the middle of the night. You got to put diaper rash cream on, give baths. You got to puree food, make food. You got to entertain. I mean, fuck all the keeping you alive things. How about the fact that you got to play with them 24/7 if they're screaming, if they're a Velcro baby? You got to know how to carry them, hold them. You got to know how to put them in their carrier, how to put them in the car seat, how to put the car seat in the stroller, all of this, right? It's your fucking job. And that's what I want to tell you in this podcast, that is, if you are the father, I think what's happened, or the other partner, what's happened is you're validated by this outside perspective that you're supposed to like, I hear a lot of like, I didn't have a dad growing up, but I see a lot of dads like, I'm going to teach you the lessons that are important in life, and like mothers do the child care and like the vast majority of raising and livelihoodness. And I'll teach you the lessons. You're starting off on the wrong foot. You're psychotic. Everything is your job. And you have to assume that. And if you're with a good person and you have a good partner, and oftentimes mothers step up to the plate, they just do because they're left alone. It's in their nature. it's all, you got to think about it like propaganda. Mothers go on social media and they see mothers being mothers. Men go on social media and they say that they see them being providers and not fathers all the time. And that's the propaganda you're fed. So you think you're validated by that. And then if you assume everything's your job, your counterpart will likely step in and not allow you to do everything, because that's the propaganda, or that's the societal norm that they accept and that they resonate with, and that is constantly being blown on their screens. And don't get me wrong, I see those single dads on Instagram and TikTok. I see those stay-at-home dads, and shout out, guys, shout out. What I'm talking about is your everyday person that's struggling with, like, well, what's my role as a father? Your role is every single thing. It's everything minus breastfeeding. And I say that and pushing the baby out of your vagina. I say that because biologically it's not going to happen. Trust me. If I could breastfeed my daughter, I would. Like, if I could breastfeed my next child, I would. I want to be every bit of a parent as any other parent. But biologically I can't, so you get a free pass on that. In the middle of the night when Laguna wakes up, Rachel 9.99999 times out of 10 does the put back to sleep, unless she, like, if a feeding is required 9.9999 times out of 10, Rachel gets up and does it, because we only breastfeed in this house. It is exclusively what we do. We don't pump anymore. That's what works for my household. And so Rachel gets up because there's nothing I could do. I can't help. And so I have to assume everything else is my job. So when it's time to take Laguna, when it's time to change her diaper, I always step up to the plate. And of course, Rachel is a good partner, like you likely have right next to you. And she steps in the other 50% of the time, or whatever it is. There's no measurement really, right? Like, let's just get past measurement. But like, if I'm like, okay, I got it. Oftentimes, Rachel's like, no, you've been nonstop. Like, let me grab this one, whether that's a diaper change, a feeding, whatever it may be. She's screaming. And I'm like, hey, babe, I'm just going to finish these dishes real quick. And I know she's yelling. Like, do you want me to grab her too? I have to assume it's my job. I got to go grab her. I got to go put her on the counter with me while I do dishes. Because that's what your wife, that's what your girl, that's what your primary partner is doing. Like, when you think that they're just taking care of the child, and then you're like, every time they're with me, they scream. Every time they're with her, they probably scream too. But they're finding a way, and they're making a way, because they know, they don't assume that it's a job. It is their job, and they know it. The primary partner is put in this position where oftentimes it's their job. No one else is going to accomplish what needs to be done with this baby except them if they don't. You need to fill those shoes, that role. The role is one person is going to step to the plate every fucking time a ball's thrown, right? Every time that curveball's thrown, someone's got to step up to the plate and bat, and it better be you as a dad. And that's going to put you in the position to be an equal partner. And the moment you become an equal partner, a lot is unlocked. I get a lot of messages, hey, how do you and Rachel keep your relationship alive? Well, there's tons of things. And me and Rachel go through our struggles, but we don't really go through like parent struggles. And the reason why is because we have an equal partnership. And I don't know, I see other women and I see the struggles they go through and these other primary partners, and they're facing things like, I have no help around the house. And then this leads to, I don't want to have sex with my husband because I'm tired. Then your husband is addicted to porn because he's never having sex, but that's because you're tired, because you're childbearing. It's this long fucking line of bullshit that streams down and just muddies your whole relationship. All stemming from one person being burnt out, because oftentimes they're doing the majority of the work. Keeping a child alive is not fucking easy, all right? Because the quality of life of that child is likely not at the level of keeping alive. And I think a lot of people assume that the primary parent is like, you keep them alive. No, not really. Because keeping them alive, we all heard about that mom that left her child in the pack and play for 10 days and that child didn't survive. And that, I think about that shit all the time. It'll make me cry. But maybe by day 5, the baby was still alive. That's keeping a baby alive. It's sick and twisted and fucked up. Really what your partner is doing is giving a flourishing, beautiful life to your child. And that takes a lot more work than just keeping the child alive, right? And keeping the child alive is fucking hard too, just so you know. And I know that because I put myself in the position to be the primary partner. Rachel did pump for the first 4 months. So I did do every feed, especially because Laguna wasn't latching. And we had this theory that if Laguna took a bottle from Rachel, she wouldn't like begin to start to latch. So like the first 3 months of Laguna's life, maybe 2.5 months, I was like, I wasn't breastfeeding, but I was breastfeeding bottle feeding breast milk. And so by me doing that, I created a bond with Laguna that's absolutely inseparable. It's you can't get in between it, you can't see through it, you can't touch it, you can't have it, you can't anything. This is like one of one, right? Next, it created a bond with Rachel of like immense trust. If I told Rachel that I was taking Laguna to New York City for 3 days, she would literally just say, "Oh, I'll miss you guys. I want to come." She wouldn't even ask for a second, "Can you handle Laguna?" Like that's so far out of her mind whether I'll be good with Laguna that she'd ask every other question first. She would ask if I packed clothes for myself before she asked if I packed clothes for Laguna. Like, we have this bond of trust, and it's at the level now where we know that anything regarding Laguna is going to be taken care of by the other person. Like, we don't check on each other, I guess. And I think in other relationships, I notice people check on you. Did you pack this? Did you do this? We don't have that problem because we trust each other, because I stepped up to the plate early, right? I taught Rachel how to change a diaper. You know what I mean? The biggest compliment early through Laguna's life, not biggest compliment, but one of something that I noticed is when we would go to doctor's appointments, the first thing nurses would try to do is talk to Rachel. Like, they would directly look at her. They would kind of ask these questions, blah, blah, blah. And as they would ask a question, I would oh, so how heavy was baby? Because we're like doing the weight based on 7 pounds exactly. What time are they born? 11:06. Oh, okay. And then they started to notice, oh shit, like dad's not just involved, but he's the parent I need to ask about this, because it seems like he knows. And I was blessed. I had, 3 months off of work or whatever it was. And those things were amazing. And it gave me the opportunity to really learn my child. But I also took every fucking moment and made it my own. And there was a long time there where like Rachel had to literally say like, yo, let me do it, please. Like, I want to do it. I want to hang out with her. I want to know what it's like to get up for this feed or whatever it was, because I made it my problem to take care of this baby. And there was nothing that I said I couldn't do because I was the father. And I think what happens is when you're the other partner, when you're the father, you think you put yourself in this box of, I can't do that, or I'm not supposed to do that, or that's not my role, or my place is not, I'm not welcome here. And you got to delete that all from your head. So if you're about to be a partner, you're about to be a dad, I want to tell you, from me to you, everything is your job, and it's okay to learn. It's okay to not know. I promise you that your wife, your girlfriend, your baby mama, she does not have some secret fucking textbook. She does not have some secret cue. She does not have some secret maternal instinct that you're just going to be left out of. Her maternal instinct, if it kicks in, if that's what she credits her success to, your paternal instinct exists as well. And it's as caring, as loving, as nurturing, as adaptable as hers. And I do always tell Rachel that her hugs nurture and like love Laguna. And I just say that because like I was raised by a single mother, and I know like a mom, like when Rachel or when Laguna falls or like hits her head or something, and I see her crawl to her mom, I'm like, of course, like she needs that mother's hug. And that's me just saying that because I had a single mom, and I'm like throwing it out in the air. Like, I know what it's like to be loved by a mother, and it's a great feeling. I don't know what it's like to be loved by a father, but I'm sure I nurture her with my hugs too. But I never assume it's not my job because I'm the dad. And I think that a lot of men, you guys put yourself in this box like, oh, it's not my job, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If it's not breastfeeding or pushing the baby out of your vagina, yes, you can. And I think another thing I see, and I want to talk to everybody that's listening to this podcast right now, is I see the potential that the primary partner, the woman, does not want to trust the man with the baby, or does not want to let go of that control, or, hey, I just gave birth, I really need this closeness. Like, I totally agree. You do need that closeness. When we first got home from the hospital, I put the bassinet on my side of the bed. And it wasn't till 2 weeks later that Rachel cried and said, hey, I don't feel that close to Laguna. Can we put the bassinet on my side of the bed, please? And I didn't know I was hurting her. And I felt bad later. Like, I didn't realize that she needed that postpartum bonding time. And I'm Rachel, if you're listening to this, I love you. And I'm sorry. It was my job. I had to put the bassinet on my side of the bed because I had to get up in the middle of the night, because I had to feed her, because I had to change her diaper and re-swaddle her. It was my job. It had to be done. And we ended up, funny enough, we put the bassinet on Rachel's side of the bed for probably a month. And then we ended up putting the bassinet at the end of our bed, because I was like, oh, I feel kind of far from, like, that's my baby. That's my baby too. And I think that you put yourself in this box as a man, like, it's not my job, or that's my role. And I think maybe because I never had a father, people ask me, Ricky, how'd you know? Or like, who raised you, or whatever it may be. And I'm like, wait, maybe because I didn't have a father, I don't have like a preconceived idea of what my role is. I don't have like this thought in my brain that I'm like, oh, okay, like Rachel takes care of like the motherly duties or whatever the fuck that means, right? So like changing the diaper and breastfeeding, and she'll learn how to swaddle, and she'll do the nose sucker, right? Rachel can't suck the boogers out of the nose with the thing. She makes her gag. She hates it. So like, of course, I did it. I'll suck the boogers out with no sucker. I'll just eat them because I'm like, this is my baby, whatever. But the point is like, maybe because I didn't have a father, I don't think that anything is not my role. You could take it one of two ways. I didn't have a dad, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. Or I didn't have a dad, so I'm like, oh, everything must be my role, duh. But that's just how my mindset was going into it. I took everything head on. I looked it in the face and I said, yeah, it's my job. Tons of people. Rachel's sister-in-law, Rachel's brother came up to me and was like, bro, you kind of act like the fucking mom. Like, chill. And I'm like, oh shit, my bad. Like, I didn't realize, but like, I'm the one over there. I can't help it. And Rachel knows. She like has to sit back and laugh at me sometimes. She's like, that's just him. You know what I mean? But in the same sense, we've built this because of our relationship, and she's seen my relationship with my daughter. We've built this crazy like trust and 50-50 or whatever measurement you want to put on it. Like, I just went out of town for work for 4 days. Do you think for one fucking second I was worried about my daughter? No, because Rachel has it on lock, and I know that, and vice versa. And so we're talking about Rachel going to a wedding next year, and she's like, yeah, if you and Laguna can't come, like, I'm sure it'll be quick for me. But it's not even like, damn, I don't know what to do because I have to take Laguna. And I think a lot of women sit in that seat and they're like, damn, I have to take my child. Like it's leaving my kid with dad. Like, I don't know, like maybe my mom could come down and help, like the baby's mother-in-law or a baby's grandma or whatever. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Like, they have to source outside help outside of the father because he can't be, I hate to say it, but trusted with the responsibility. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or like, I see the constant joke, like, we left him with dad, so we'll see what happens. Like, what's going to happen? And I think you got to ask yourself, are you that guy? So like, if you already have a kid and you're listening to this, are you that guy that people like make fun of, like low key, and you think it's cute, where people are like, oh, you left him with dad, we'll see. Like, it's like, and everyone like laughs, like, oh, she's probably gonna, not have any rules or like eat sugar or like whatever it is that's not normal. Like, oh, we left him with dad, so he just watched movies all weekend because he doesn't, I think when the house burns down, they're like, did you leave him home with dad? Like that kind of joking shit. Like, that shit shouldn't make you laugh. You should take that shit personal, because it's like, it's not cool. It's not cool. I'm just going to call you out. It's not cool to be a parent that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. It's not cool to only play catch in the yard and not know what size diaper your child's in. That shit's not cool. It's lame as fuck, honestly. And I think that you sit in this square where you're validated by so many people, and it's like, those people are imposters. Those people are telling you that because that's what they were giving, or that's what they do, so they're going to validate that. And so when you go to work and you're like, shit, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that baby at home, and like all your buddies at work are like, yeah, bro, like, they're good with mom. Like you feel like this sense of community, this sense of like, all right, yeah, I'm feeling and then maybe you come in the next day and you're like, damn, my little boy, he it was so cool. He fucking picked up his first dinosaur book, and I wanted to read I'm trying to be like a cliche dude. I don't know. He asked me about a motorcycle, and I took him outside and I showed him a motorcycle. You didn't raise your child. Like, that's not fucking tangible skills that baby's going to use, or that toddler. Yeah, you showed him what a dirt bike was, shout out. But it's a lot more. There's a lot more to the story. You got to be the guy that can do it all. And I understand what a lot of people like to come back to me and say, well, I'm the sole provider. I work 50 hours a week. But I get it. Just so you know, in my relationship, I do not make the majority of my money from social media. 1, and 2, I am the sole provider. Rachel doesn't work. I understand. Like I said, I just went out of town for work for 4 days. I get it. So what I don't want you to think is that I'm sitting at home being a stay-at-home dad and I'm fucking judging you as you work, because I went back to work. I went back to work for Starbucks Coffee Company, who had my ass. I was a store manager. They had my ass working 47 hours a week, standard. And I had to come home, and Rachel was momming that whole time alone. And you think I got to come home and be like, oh, fuck. Yeah, like, let me know when she, I don't know, says dada. No, I had to come home and be a parent, because it's not something that turns off. It's not an option. Let me ask you this. So if you go to work all day, so say you go to work for 10 hours a day, I'll even give you 2 hours on top of the norm. Go to work for 10 hours a day. Your baby is being taken care of for those 10 hours a day. But then when you come home, you don't have to take care of the baby, but the person that the primary parent still does. So when the fuck does their job end? Because I don't get it. Because you could say, well, I'm the one going to work. Well, this sounds good, buddy, but you come home. When do they clock out? How's that add up to you? How's that equate? And I think a lot of fathers think that their role is like, we're all at the dinner table and I'm like, hey, use your napkin, have table manners. Or you make sure your kids say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, or thank you, or please. And yep, you did it. You did your job. You taught them a lesson. No, it's so much more than that. And you have to assume whatever more than that is, right? So if it's packing their clothes on a trip, if it's changing their diaper, if it's buying new wipes, if it's that's all your fucking job too. And all you can do is look at your partner and you guys got to pick up slack and leave it where it's left. And what I mean by that is, like, I go out of town for 4 days. So, Rachel, like, you obviously have to keep Laguna because I will not be in the state and I'm going to work for 4 days to bring in income so we can buy food for our table. Perfect. Sounds good. I don't get home though and just get to fucking, hey, I'm finally off. Like, I get home to my family in which I'm the one that left. I'm the one that neglected, because the responsibility is with family, right? If you're more loyal to your job than your children, you're fucked up in your head. And so I'm the one that neglected. So I must come back and repair. What I mean by that is when I got home this morning, I made sure I got up with Laguna as fast as I could. It was like 6:20 and I took her outside and I let Rachel sleep till 8:15. Because I had a haircut at 8:30 is literally why. I would have let her sleep even longer or whatever Laguna was going to make me. The reason why is, that's not my one thing though. Like, I didn't just do that and I'm like, all right, I'm good now, we're even. No, fuck no. Even doing this podcast, I'm like low key looking at the time. I'm like, I got to get out of here because I got to go back to being a dad because I've already neglected my family. I have to repair what I have neglected. Because when did Rachel ever clock out? She got one good night of sleep and she woke up this morning. She's like, thanks so much for doing that. I'm like, whoa, like, you've been momming nonstop. Like, what the fuck? Like, take a bigger break. By technicality, I owe you 4 days back. Like, if you want to do that 50-50 shit, Rachel deserves literally 4 days off. And whether she's making money or not, whether I was making money or not for the family, I still was not at home parenting, which is my primary role. My primary role is a father. And so if you don't think your primary role is a father, one of two things: you don't understand your role, or two, your priorities are fucked up. So if you do think your number one priority is being a father, but then you think fatherhood is teaching them table manners and how to throw a football, you're fucked up, right? You need to redefine what father means to you. And father means everything. Father means you do everything. Everything that you biologically, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually can do for that child, you must. And your partner will pick up, and I promise it'll even out. And let me just caveat and tell the people that are like, my partner doesn't do shit. So let me address you. If you're the other partner and you're doing everything and now you're the primary partner and your other partner isn't doing shit, you're with the wrong person. You're better off single. If you feel like a single parent at home, you're better off single. Okay? Because that person is taking away energy and doing more damage than they are good. And so I want to talk to fathers, and I'm at the end of this podcast, I want to break it down into like tangible things. Like, I've ranted at you a lot. I've talked at you a lot, but let me make it tangible for you. Everything is your job. Assume that and you'll win. Assume that everything that baby needs, you can supply and you will win. You have my word. You will become a parent. You will become a partner. You will become a role model. You will become someone that you are happy to look in the mirror with. When I see myself with my daughter, I have no insecurities. Zero insecurities. It's the best feeling in the world. I'm never insecure with my daughter. I take her on a walk by myself. People will drive by, be like, this girl drove by in a golf cart one time. Great dad. Why? Why am I a great dad? What's the difference? Because you see me out taking my daughter on a walk. Do you think they would stop and tell a mom, great mom? Probably not. So everything's your job. The next thing I want you to know is nothing does not, I want to say this correctly without two negatives. There is nothing that you cannot do. Okay. There is never a task I'm outside of breastfeeding, of course, that you cannot complete due to your gender or their gender, or due to your capability, due to their capability. So I don't want you to think, oh, I don't know how to give my daughter a bath. Can I put water on her head? Figure it the fuck out. Go on TikTok and look it up. Follow Ricky B. He'll teach you. Yes, you can pour water on your child's head. I gave Laguna water. Okay, I'm not going to teach you guys about baths. Maybe another episode. But the point is, there's nothing that is outside of your scope. There's nothing that you can't do. So take that out of your head immediately, okay? So first things first, it's always your job. Second thing, there's nothing outside of your capability. I don't want you to assume anything as a father or as the non-primary partner, which I don't know what that means. For me, that doesn't mean shit. I am the primary partner, but so is Rachel. I know that may not make sense to you, but it is. Rachel breastfeeds, so she is the life essential partner, right? Because she breastfeeds. But now Laguna's eating solids and Rachel hates baby-led weaning, and that's what Laguna prefers. She like gags and chokes on purees and throws up all over the place. So when it comes to feeding her that way, it's all me because Rachel fucking hates it. She's miserable, right? And so anyway, not the point. The point is, if you're the other partner, you need to understand that you're not the other partner. You're the primary partner. Yeah. Next, it's not your job to coach the other person. And this goes towards either the primary partner or if you're stepping up a lot. You can't coach the other partner in a way that they need to do something if it's not unsafe or immoral. So I remember I coached Rachel on how to change a diaper one time, and she looked at me and she said, "Don't ever tell me what to do again when it comes to this shit." I said, "Yes, ma'am." And it was the last fucking time I ever said anything. Because they have to learn their own way. This is a human being. This isn't a Rubik's Cube that can be solved, one of 3 puzzled ways. This is a human being that needs such attention and such personality. And it's a human being that you have to meet and you have to learn and you have to address in a specific way that's unique to you. You don't talk to your mom the same way your sibling talks to your mom, or maybe it's like a respect thing, but you don't have the same relationship with your mommy that your sibling has with their mommy, right? Because you guys are 2 individual people. You have to meet each other, meet your mom. It's individuality. Your baby's not some fucking Rubik's Cube. You got to figure out their individuality and you got to address it, and things will unlock for you. And all that I've talked at you, I want you to leave this episode feeling one of 2 things: either validated because everything I said, you're like, yep, I'm already that guy, shout out. Or I want you to feel offended. If the shoe fits, wear it. I want you to feel inspired to make a change. And I want you to know that all of those cliches and all of those, hey dad, like you're there to teach him how to throw a football or whatever, or change a car tire, that's all fucking fake. That's fake. It doesn't exist. Like that shit is not real. That's made up. It's made up. And if you're using any of that to validate yourself, stop. That doesn't exist. Like you can do anything through daddy who strengthens you. And if you have questions, bro, I hate to plug myself, but just fucking hit me up. I reply to a lot of DMs, a lot more than you'd think. If they're questions, like if you're asking me like, hey bro, I'm going through this, like, and you be descriptive. If you DM me like, hey dog, I'm a dad, like could use help. I'm gonna like, be descriptive. Like, hey man, I'm trying to get more involved with my baby. I don't understand how to change a diaper. I'll fucking teach you, bro. I'll let you FaceTime me and I'll literally show you on a toy doll how to change a diaper. Like I got you guys. And I also have tons of video on my TikTok, like go through them. I should probably organize them one day. I could probably sell a course, but it's just more work and I'm here to just be a dad. But the point is nothing is outside of your possibilities, and all that shit you use to validate yourself is made up. And I think I'll address that. I see people saying like dads are more involved now than ever. Like you're in that statistic. And if you feel like, oh yeah, I'm more involved than like any other dad before me, it's not enough. Be more involved than mom. I'm dead ass serious. Be more involved than the mother to your child. And when you achieve that, you can come talk to me. Anyway, good luck, boys. Good luck, other partner. Good luck, men. Good luck, fathers. Good luck, mothers. Good luck, everybody. I love you. Send this to someone that it's going to resonate with. Listen to this and let it resonate with you. And if there's something that I didn't cover that you want to see, I'll throw this plug back out there. If you DM me and you put like in all caps, like podcasts or something like that, I'll be able to like know that it's podcast related, and I'll answer it probably in a different capacity and make sure I read it and get back to you. And send me podcast ideas. Next week's episode will be a joint episode with one of my boys named Blake, who actually helped me get this whole thing started. And we're going to talk about like not coaching other parents and stuff like that. Not coaching your partner on how to parent and unique styles of parenting. And Follow me on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on TikTok, and yeah, new merch coming soon. All right. Love you.